Credo che si possa iniziare. Buongiorno a tutti
Good morning.
e a tutti.
Morning to everybody, and thanks for participating in this event, which which concerns the presentation of Agrilevante. It's a major appointment for the agricultural and zootechnical sector and of agricultural equipment and technologies for agriculture. My speech, of course, is on behalf of the SIAM and the Mediterranean Economic Institute of Bari. And Unacoma, which is the organizer of this exhibition of Agrilevante, will certainly highlight the main points of this event from 5 to 8 October this year. I personally, as director of this institute, which hosts the press conference, I want to remind you the long and fruitful collaboration we started many years ago with Feder Unacoma. This is a fruitful collaboration which has involved that we have shared together in the Mediterranean region in many countries to convey the Italian know-how to fragile or vulnerable communities which needed innovation in agriculture. The name, of course, Feder Unacoma is a synonym of quality, commitment, and economic and technological development. It's a reality which really belongs to the best image of Italy, of productive Italy all over the world. And it is important for us to share this guarantee. I take this opportunity to welcome with great pleasure Mrs. Laura Bonaiuti, who is present today, will chair the Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso for the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I also take the opportunity to welcome the Libyan delegation, a quite numerous delegation that is participating today to a conference, to a project user of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which involves the area of Fezzan, a very dry area in Libya, interventions or actions in favor of the agricultural development in the rural areas of the south of the country, to offer jobs not only to Libyan agricultural people, but also to migrants who could be stabilized in those areas. I also welcome with pleasure Mrs. Nicoletta Gaida. She's working tirelessly with many difficult countries. She promotes peace in many countries. She's president of the Foundation Arapacis, with which we collaborate in different projects which are being carried out in Libya. I would also welcome all the officers who are present today, who are participating in a new course on precision agriculture at our institute. and they represent 12 countries, and they are attending this course. They will remain here at the Institute for a couple of months. I welcome and I thank for his presence here the regional councillor Donato Pentasuglia from Puglia region, and of course the president of Feder Unacoma, Alessandro Malavolti, and Simona Rapastella, Director General of Feder Unacoma. But of course, I also welcome all friends, professors, lecturers from research bodies and from universities. And of course, I welcome all the representatives of the world of communication. Today, we'll also have the opportunity to sign, Mr. President, for the third time, an agreement, a memorandum of understanding with Feder Unacoma. So, the objective, of course, is to promote and to implement a priority, a challenge which is unavoidable, that is food security. So Siambari tries to promote and to create with many third countries also training or educational activities for the know-how transfer. So actions that could be implemented in collaboration with the Italian trade agency that was called in the past ICE, the Institute for Foreign Trade, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and the Feder Unacoma. What's the objective? To train people, farmers or officers to know how Italian technologies for the management of the supply chain can contribute to food security and to sustainable development. I conclude with a note, and within our institute we have already collaborated to train technicians both in Lebanon and in Egypt and Congo. So this is an activity which has been already started up, and this activity will find, of course, an important support through the process headed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that wants to innovate through new training paths, the Matei Plan, which is emphasized more and more. This is a way to be present, to be effective in and to help countries and communities which need help, need to be helped. This is a process. We started up with Feder Unacoma. I remember Sam Simifa, a project which has handed them. It was carried out in Egypt, and through the grants and aids, we gave 10 million euros of agricultural machinery in Egypt, and thanks to the technical assistance that the Institute of Bari has provided through an action shared by Feder Unacoma and its associated companies for the development of important areas like Egypt, where there is a growing young population which needs to be supported also in terms of food security. I stop here. Of course, we hosted this press conference, and I give the floor now to the President Malavolti. I thank him for choosing our institute just to present Agrilevante that after 3 years, because of the pandemic, will involve many agricultural operators, workers who are, of course, interested to innovate machineries in agriculture.
Grazie Maurizio.
Thank you. Being here for me is being at home because your activities in the field of agricultural development are crucial for us since our association is in charge of the development and the sale of agriculture machinery. So now, today's topic is Agrilevante Exhibition Fair, which is a very important event for us from a commercial and from a promotional point of view. But I'm not going to speak of Agrilevante because the speaker, Mrs. Rapastella, will cover Agrilevante. I will speak about the market. Agrilevante is an opportunity for us to cast light on the economy across the Mediterranean area, with special reference to the production of agricultural machinery. This kind of economy is very important for us and in Italy. Next slide, please. Okay. So I was saying that this kind of economy is very important for us because we share some common factors. On top of all, historical factors. It comes infrastructure and also trade routes. They date back to centuries ago. And also, another important factor is a common climate. Spain, Croatia, Greece, Albania, but also Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, North Africa, all those countries share common climate conditions. And above all, a specific agricultural vocation, especially in terms of quality of agriculture, and especially for fruit and vegetables sector. All these countries share a common DNA, which is the agricultural knowledge. Well, here, this is the heart of agricultural knowledge. And agricultural knowledge is really crucial for us when we want to design, conceive, and build new agricultural machinery. However, this region is very complex because the population has doubled. We were about 180 million inhabitants in the 70s, but now in the Mediterranean area, we have achieved more than 520 million inhabitants. And this increase has marked the southern part of the Mediterranean area and to a lesser extent the northern part of Europe. This has brought about criticalities, especially in the field of agriculture, above all in terms of irrigation, because the development of cities has made so that water resources are now intended for the supply of large urban settlements. And in many areas, water crisis and desertification have occurred. Now, so we have about 90 million people working in the field of agriculture. In some countries, more than 40% of the population works in the field of agriculture, and the population grows about 1.5 hectares. And this is another criticality because in many of our countries, including Italy, inheritance laws cause the fragmentation of land. 1.5 hectare means subsistence in many countries. In many other countries, it is not even possible to reach a subsistence, a basic livelihood. Another cause resulting in the crisis of agriculture across the Mediterranean area is linked to the fact that over the last years, level of investments in agriculture machinery has fluctuated. Huge problems occurred in 2012 with the Arab Springs that stopped investments in a lot of countries. And after that, investments in agriculture machinery, mechanics, and also in the building of dams, of irrigation canals, were linked to the energy resources. When the African countries were able to sell oil, for example, they could also make investments, but that was not steady. That caused a strain on the markets. Did not favor the increase in the production, a production which is expected to be achieved in these areas. Now, if we speak of potential, the potential in these countries is really very important. And the potential depends on the factors linked to fragility, linked to economic instability. And over the last years, a very important point is represented by food security. We felt fragile in the last years, and Europe is self-sufficient from the food point of view. The Middle East and North Africa were under stress. Most of cereals imports were from Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. And this and the demand, there is also a very important demand in terms of agricultural technology for all these countries. Italy ranks first as exporters towards these countries. However, the competition of countries such as the Middle East, Southeast Asia, China, and India are producing products whose technological level is lower with respect to what we produce here in Italy. Growth rates in the future go from 2 to 8% according to the country. Well, I'd like to cover and to provide information about the main countries, and this to give you an idea about the potential markets of the machinery sector. One of the most important countries for us in terms of imports is Morocco. Morocco has a coastline on the Atlantic Ocean, which is very fertile. Morocco is a country where, apart from the peak before 2018, imports value is about 200 to 250 millions. And Italy ranks second as exporting country after Spain, because Spain is closer to Morocco. And Morocco has a population of about 37 million inhabitants. And with an agricultural surface area of 14 million hectares. In Italy, we have 12 million hectares. Therefore, the potential development of agricultural machinery is very, very high. Growth rates exceed 4% annually till 2016. Another important country, which is very important in terms of surface area and population, is Algeria. Algeria has a very nice green coastline, and the area bordering Tunisia, I mean, central part, which has a very important agricultural vocation. This is a country with about 40 million hectares, which may be grown, and it is also a country which has a food deficiency. It is one of the most important wheat importers in the world. So, and then we have about China with 10% in terms of import from Italy. The third country, which is important for us, and also because it is one of the largest countries in North Africa is Egypt. Egypt has rocketed in terms of people's increase. However, the agricultural surface area is very limited, no more than 3 million hectares. There is a plan that was launched by President Assisi also during the meeting with our Prime Minister. And the will is to irrigate 500,000 hectares more, which implies a very high investment in terms of agriculture machinery. So now, if Italy is the fifth exporting country to Egypt with a market share of about 6%, there's a high, there's a strong presence of the American products. However, the most important exporting country for Egypt is China. Well, and here there is a strong potential, not only the delta of Nile, but also including the area all around Aswan's Dam. And there's also the northwestern part of the country, which has a strong agricultural vocation, and our projects are concentrated in that area. Another key country for us, although it is a small country, a country with about 12 million inhabitants. So this is Tunisia, but no more than 500,000 hectares are grown. Italy has a good ranking. Italian exports exceed 100 million, which are not justified by the size of agriculture and the dimension of the country. Well, Tunisia is the gateway for Italian goods and also for goods from other countries towards Algeria, because in Algeria there can be some problems in terms of customs, and also a gateway towards Libya and some Saharan countries due to political instability. So now Italy is the first country in terms of exports. So we export more than 30%. And followed by India with about 12 to 13%. The growth rate for Tunisia is equal to 4%. Libya, Libyan friends. Libya is a very interesting country for us. 3 million hectares of surface areas. Cyrenaica in Tripolitania, to the south of Tobruk, and also the coastline. There's also a project carried out by Siambari in a central part in some areas which are still fertile in the southwestern part of the country. So Italy is the third exporting country. The largest market share is in the hands of China and of Turkey, with about a 30% rate. Another interesting country with about 40 million inhabitants is Iraq. Iraq, with about 200 million euros of imports in terms of agriculture machinery. Well, growth rate is of about 8% for the years ahead, but it's a very strong potential. The area from Baghdad to Basra and rivers along Tigris and Euphrates, where agriculture was born. Well, that area is very fertile. And from my point of view, there is a great potential in terms of development. Iraq has achieved political stability. The first commercial partner is Turkey with 24%, but Italy ranks second, and we have about 22% of the market share. Jordan, the Italian market share is low. We rank sixth as exporter. The country has about 11 million inhabitants. There's a green belt bordering Israel. There's also a part, an area to the south and east with lakes and rivers with a big potential. Our market share is not very high. There's a big potential here because a few weeks ago there is a collaboration project between Israel and Jordan for the the distribution of fresh water from Israel. Well, the Jordan River, has dried out over the last years, and also the Dead Sea is getting depleted. So we have about 80% of the market share. The most important country is China, um, but with a value of 30 million euros. Israel, now, Italy is the second exporting country to Israel. Israel has grown so much. The first commercial partner is the United States, and also because there are a lot of Jewish people coming from the United States. And the agricultural surface area is very, very low, 500,000 hectares, which is overexploited in a perfect manner. This is why Israel is growing so much, and you see the increase in the imports by value. Now, Croatia. Well, Italy is the second exporting country with about 17%, which is very close to the market share of Slovenia, which is a bordering country. And Serbia is another important country for Italy. Serbia has a wonderful agriculture. There are very fertile valleys in the northern part, but also all around Beograd. Valleys are very, very interesting, especially for the cultivation of outdoor crops and fruit and vegetables. So Italy is the second exporting country with about 10 to 15%. And Serbia has about 3 million hectares which are grown. In Albania, we were there on a mission. Albania is a country where imports of tractors and of agricultural machinery are limited, about 30 million. Italy is the second exporting country. The coastline is a green line, and then there is the inland with production of grapevine, and also with a very important animal husbandry. And lots of projects are also carried out. Turkey is a very important market, but over the years it has become a competitor with Italy. In Turkey, about 67,000 tractors were produced, and 20,000 tractors were exported, because Turkey is the gateway to the Middle East. Turkey has excellent links and relations with the neighboring countries, with about 800 million. And Italy is the second commercial partner of Turkey after Germany. Turkey is a country with about 24 million hectares, as twice as the surface areas in Italy in terms of agriculture. Well, I've not included, the Italian market. 2022 market dropped. The demand for agriculture machinery in Italy has increased, however. Also, with respect to pre-owned machinery, the drop last year was linked to our ability to produce a sufficient number of tractors, agriculture machinery. The producers, manufacturers, we had problems for a deficiency of components, for the increase in the price of gas, electricity, for the shortage of microprocessors. The growth this year is still negative. It is minus 5%, and this for some problems in terms of supply. And but in 2021, we marked a record. If we compare data of 2019 with data of 2021, sign is still positive. Puglia has copied Italy. Puglia has reduced the number of agriculture machinery boats on the ground. While there are some difficulties, some subsidies were cancelled, but there are also some problems linked to the climate. In many regions of Italy, a lot of regions in Italy suffered from drought, and this has stopped propensity to buy machinery. Agrilevante is important to put agriculture back on the political agenda, not only for the northern shore countries, but also to invest again also in the south shore of the Mediterranean area. So much can be done, especially in terms of employing labor force, which might control migration flows in the countries of origin. Our industry has a leading role from this point of view because, from the point of view of technology, we have a leading role in different sectors. So, for example, the production of machines for the cultivation of fruit and vegetables crops. So now I conclude, and I give the floor to Simona. I conclude with a memory, the memory of a person that I've never met, unfortunately, but everyone speaks of that person, Mimmo La Cirignola. A wonderful person who worked hard for this institute for SIAM. And in 2007, Rising in a journal wrote that agriculture had to be supported because it was crucial to return health to the Mediterranean. And I invite you to download this article with three: the health of economy, optimization and rationalization of agriculture systems that for many countries have a very important impacts in terms of agriculture and in terms of population. The health of its territories, because we safeguard and we preserve the environment. Agriculture is important to prevent desertification when we use irrigation with new technologies. And it also means nutrition, health of human beings. We were saying that some of these countries, the Middle East and North Africa, import foodstuffs. Through investments, these countries might achieve livelihood. So I thank you, I thank Maurizio, and I give the floor for the most important part of this presentation to Simona Rapastella, our Director General. Thank you.
Thanks to the President. Good morning. I I welcome and I thank also the participants who are following us online, and I take this opportunity to communicate that those who want to ask questions could also communicate with us by email. The task of presenting in a very nice context, that is Siambari, the 2023 edition of Agrilevante, is very important. We are very happy. We have the pleasure to present this here. This is a center of excellence which is specialized in higher education. So this is really an excellent forum to present a new edition which is back. I ask the technician to start the slideshow. So it's back to Bari in Fiera del Levante in Bari from the 5th to the 8th of October. It It will be certainly interesting from a promotional and commercial point of view, as the President said before, but also in terms of strategic possibilities to draw the attention to the Mediterranean, and for this completeness, for this important focus on the Mediterranean region, we have chosen a claim which mentions all the colors of Earth, because it intends to present all colors of Earth within the fair. In the promotional terms, this fair will present a new platform to match demand and supply after the last edition of 2019, which had very important figures, about 400 exhibitors and 80,000 visitors. From the economic and political point of view, Agrilevante draws the attention to the Mediterranean region, which is very important for its specialized and high-quality production, crucial for the related economic and social trends. For example, the problem of drought mentioned by the President, which affects this area. Then the economic and financial crisis concerning countries like Tunisia, for example, which of course which are related to migration phenomena, and this is the reason for social and economic conflict. So it's the fair which wants to present the Mediterranean in its geographical features, in its agricultural production, its demand for technologies, in its development patterns. And it tells about the crucial challenges that this region has in environmental terms and for political and social stability and integration of skills and professionalism. In terms of organization, its focus is on the main supply chains. This has been an important focus, grain growing, the olive oil sector, fruit and vegetable sector, but also viticulture and winemaking, but also animal husbandry and non-food production, specifically for biofuels. And then there are new focus areas for this edition. An area which is more focused on gardening and maintenance of green areas. This area will be enhanced because it has always existed within the fair. It will be enhanced because it, of course, is addressed to the professional landscapers and gardening hobbies. Another area which is an important focus is advanced electronics and robotics, because of course these areas are the new frontier of technologies for agriculture, and they will have a dedicated space for the first time in the edition of Bari, and an important space devoted to animal husbandry, irrigation, and in the outdoor area also dynamic trials for energy generation from agriculture and forestry. This is the map, which is maybe different from the final version. The map, of course, intends the will to redesign the fair space, the area of the fair. It has some focus areas that I mentioned before. It pivots around the new pavilion, the new stand, the new exhibition area. Then there is focus on olive growing, then irrigation and gardening, then all the area devoted to animal husbandry, the outdoor area for advanced electronics and robotics will see the digital technologies will have dynamic tests, dynamic trials, and structures really devoted to the companies which are involved in these innovations. In the outdoor area, we'll have also a driver trophy, the contractor driver trophy, promoted by New Business Media, in addition to the area devoted to the bioenergy area. What are the numbers of this fair? 230 exhibitors. We have covered 90% of the indoor area, so spaces are full, and we are still waiting for new companies, which of course will occupy the outdoor areas. It's important for us, so we wait for commercial partners who want to invest in Agrilevante, and this is a great reason for satisfaction for us. And of course, there will be an international area. Agrilevante confirms and had confirmed in its last edition an international range. We have reserved two official delegations to foreign delegations in collaboration with the Italian Trade Agency and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a new area just to promote more and more the matching between exhibitors and the commercial partners. I remind you that the numbers of this international part of the last edition were very significant, over 130 business people from 35 countries, with 3,000 B2B meetings. This year we have increased the numbers and also the profiling of these operators. We'll have 150 business people from 35 countries with a focus on the Mediterranean, Africa, Asia, Balkans, and Eastern Europe. The same areas which are targeted by this, which see in agricultural innovation some hope and potential also for economic and social stability. It's a great kermesse, a great showcase. Agrilevante will be a great event that will involve all the players of the agri-food supply chain, but also the economic, political, and educational players. 8,000 models of machines, so really a lot of technology, a lot of equipment. Hundreds of herds of cattle, horses, sheep and goats and rabbits, many seminars, focus meetings on technical issues, technical subjects, but also on economic and political subjects, because we have said since the beginning that training is very important, and the ability of this Agrilevante to be an incubator of knowledge. A great attention will be devoted to our contest, the Technical Innovation Contest. So the models of technology that introduce new technological solutions, or which intend to improve the existing ones, to be able more and more to combine production efficiency with the central issues, that is sustainability, safety, work safety, and productivity, because of course we should also consider this extremely important aspect. We support, of course, the sharing of successes within Federal within our consortium. We want to share the success, and we think that also the success of a fair is determined by an integrated system of relationships. Agrilevante is the result of Feder Unacoma's know-how because we have this competency, we have these skills, but will also be supported by important players, local actors, will contribute to the success of the of Agrilevante, Fiera del Levante, Puglia region, and its agriculture department, the national and regional breeders associations, AIA and ARA Puglia, Bari and Foggia universities, and last but not least, Siam Bari, which is hosting today. The schedule of events, Agrilevante is also a fair of high content because we can see all exhibited technologies, but it also intends to open knowledge spaces. It intends to be an incubator where the debate, the discussion should focus on new and appropriate models in the Mediterranean. This is a collective effort, and those working in this area should share and work, operate in this sense, on focusing on the educational requirements and agricultural machinery field. Agrilevante will try to implement this will thanks to the collaboration of publishing houses. I mentioned some of them: Informatore Agrario, New Business Media, Meccagri, and thanks to the collaboration of Bari and Foggia universities, and Siam will try to explore these training requirements from many point of view. Feder Unacoma has always supported that technological innovation, of course, brings very excellent results if it is well known, only if the personnel, the staff, can acquire the skills showing the real potential of machines, their functions, and so the possibility of being more productive, more yielding. On these themes, professional profiles, and the agronomic skills and the challenges of Mediterranean agriculture will be focus areas. Universities of Bari and Foggia have already scheduled some meetings. The first appointment concerns the evolution of the European Union Common Agricultural Policy in view of the climate change and the new sustainability challenges. Promoted by universities, there is a second appointment on EU funds concerning the National Recovery and Resilience Plan and Rural Development Plan. Then we focus on 4.0 systems applied to specialty crops to offer a review on the most advanced techniques, including isobus, robotics, and AI, artificial intelligence. The third meeting will be focused on energy generation from biomass related to livestock husbandry. This theme seems to be very strategic in an area where diversification of sources has become a crucial issue. Will develop focuses, interesting focuses on Apulia, on Apulian agriculture. Among the meetings that will be promoted by Ed Agricole, for example, will have a conference on the agronomic and phytosanitary aspects of olive growing, and a further contribution from the same publishing house will be focused on Apulian native varieties, just to explore this interesting boundary, this relationship between land microclimate and plant varieties, cultivated varieties, which are the basis of the quality and typicalness of Apulian products, and also to combine innovation and tradition. Ed Agricole will start the second edition of the Alternative Agricultural Productions Award to enhance the most successful experiences in the conversion of some farms towards innovative crops. This is to create a new niche, the market niche, which are interesting also in economic terms. Another focus will be on contractors, in particular the role of agromechanics in implementing conservative and precision farming techniques and practices. This is another main theme, because it concerns both the environment and professional skills. Lastly, to promote this fair, we have implemented a very complete media plan covering the traditional and the digital aspects. Of course, it will cover local and national newspapers, many Italian and foreign specialized press agencies, radio and TV channels at national and regional level. A Google campaign will be active in Italy and in 20 Mediterranean countries, and a dedicated team is already working, and it will work till the opening of Agrilevante. It will follow all our social channels. We know that this is a form of communication which integrates the traditional channels, and within the publicity, the dissemination campaign, publicity campaign, advertisement campaign, we have relations with some content creators of the sector who will work with some students of the agricultural faculty to to narrate in innovative way our fair. Agrilevante, so of course, needs to be communicated, promoted in the best way, and with this well, we invite you to Agrilevante from 5 to 8 October, because we have to share this great moment. Thank you very much. Thanks to President Malavolti and the Director General Simona Rapastella. Of course, the municipality of Bari will also support Agrilevante. We have the Vice Mayor Eugenio Di Sciascio. I give the floor to him. A very important person, because of course he is a professor, university a professor at the Faculty of Engineering, so he has certainly trained many technicians. I'm still a lecturer. I'm still professor, of course, on behalf of the municipality of Bari, of the Mayor De Caro.
E la soddisfazione. La soddisfazione perché
Well, I'd like to express gratitude and our full satisfaction. We are really, really happy to host this successful and authoritative event in Bari. And the presentation, well, apart from the skills and abilities of the organizers, it also shows the importance of this essential sector. This sector is essential in terms of survival of humankind, but also for the future of Italy, the future of this region, but also for the future of the Mediterranean region as a whole. This is why this is a challenge, you know. It's a big and important challenge. And Bari is involved in this challenge, and Bari is willing to support you. So we are living a period of uncertainty, also in terms of nutrition. We are confronted with a war in a European country, and the uncertainty is also caused by this war because the agreements for the safe trade of the wheat is an element of discussion, an element of debate. So uncertainty prevails in our world today. But this event, Agrilevante, focuses on innovation. Innovation is important, innovation is essential, and innovation must be disseminated in the right manner. Agriculture is nowadays much more innovative than other sectors. And this too is an element that shall be focused on. With the city of Bari, we launched the Drone Living Lab a few weeks before your event. The new edition of Drones Beyond will take place, which is based on the unmanned systems. You might even think of a sort of collaboration with the drone-based sectors. I hope you to host you very soon in October on the occasion of this very interesting event, which is Agrilevante. So this is one of this is one of the regions with the highest rate of agricultural machinery. It represents about 10% of all the machines, agricultural machines, sold in Italy. This is the barn of Italy, and the agriculture production in Italy has increased so much also in the field of fruit, vegetables, viticulture, and olive growing. We are honored to have with us the Regional Minister for Agriculture, Donato Pentasuglia, who will deliver his welcome and draw the conclusions of this launch event. I thank you, first of all, because we are officially informing that Agrilevante will take place in October. This is the launch event here, hosted by Siambari, which is a very important institution, very important organization. I welcome all our foreign guests and like to also thank universities in Puglia, because the combination, the synergy between all these stakeholders is very important and attractive for Fiera del Levante. Fiera del Levante, after 4 years, after the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and also during the war which is stressing us in terms also of survival of humankind, embargo of goods, and so on and so forth. I welcome the delegation at the Regional Department of Agriculture, and I shared this delegation with the Department for Economic Development, because we are speaking of agriculture which innovates and which is innovating itself. So agriculture is increasingly exposed to climate change. It is important to be more tangible, more practical, and renovation is important. So the culture renovation of managers, of young managers, with the first, they will join all the sectors of innovation linked to biotechnologies. And this is another sector which deserves attention. The quality of our products is very important, because quality products must be sold. And apart from the environmental sustainability, we have also to speak of the economic sustainability of our farms. So this is a combination that must be promoted. University provides us the tools. After 2.5 years of my personal activity as regional minister of agriculture, I really appreciate the data which have been provided by university. And after the relaunch after COVID, we are now relaunching an exhibition fair which is not only for innovation to cure, but the tangible results of innovation. So this combination, the combination with animal husbandry, putting together the experiences with animal husbandry as well. It is important to take into account also the well-being of animals. Animal husbandries produce problems, have an impact on the environment. And we now also speak of topics that with our system of university research, and I want to underline it because, I set up a scientific committee to have a backup for Xylella and also for all the transboundary diseases. It is important to be backed up by skillful experts. Matching is important, but it is also important to take into account also the populations that have to work in their homelands by applying our traditions to their own specialty products. This implies a social human mission that supports our economy, sound economy, an economy which is based on the respect of people and places. The economy which also takes into account all the hurdles experienced in the world, because embargo on wheat, for example, means destroying a population. This is why, as a regional minister for agriculture policies, I really appreciated this integrated program and this opening. I read your letter presentation and the Mediterranean countries with this cultural opening. is a flying wheel for also for the region of Puglia, because we want to involve all the various agriculture and economic departments. We want to involve the Interreg departments, but we also want to integrate our activities and we want to be supportive to populations around the Mediterranean basin. I'm sure that next October we'll relaunch this event, taking into account the sustainable development of our crops, fostering the culture of labor. Labor is very important. Labor is tightly connected with cultural breakthrough, and we want to foster also the role played by all human beings. Thank you. Well, I live in Brussels, and I do feel synthetic food. It is like a ghost on us, and we have to really defend our good food. Now, before giving the floor to the audience for a Q&A session, so Agrilevante has been presented today, which is very important. And I want to seize this opportunity to renew a partnership agreement in 2008 that I renewed in 2018. And before the end of my mandate, I'd like to renew this agreement, because this agreement with Federnocoma and Siambari has yielded great satisfaction apart from personal friendship and a lot of common projects which are being promoted around the Mediterranean area. So Maurizio and I will sign this partnership agreement, which has been very successful. And we want to reiterate our endeavor to advertise Agrilevante event in all the countries where we work and operate actively.
Una stretta di mano e poi
Spazio alle domande, se qualcuno c'è qualche domanda anche chi è già arrivato.
Do you have questions also in English? So some questions. The first question, I summarize it very rapidly. Agriculture machinery is very important, but education and training and agriculture machinery has been compromised for high school. In the institute, in the High School of Agriculture, topic of agriculture machinery was cancelled some years ago. So, and the question is about what we can do to launch this again. We are in touch with the Ministry of Education. We're in touch with the associations of the institutes, the High School of Agriculture, with a view to reintroducing agriculture machinery as a topic in the curriculum of the High School of Agriculture. Motivations are clear cut for us. agriculture machinery is important. Apart from agricultural studies, which are at the basis of knowledge and know-how, most of our farms have subscribed to agreements with the High School of Agriculture, also to try our agriculture machines. We work collaboratively with the High School of Agriculture and also with universities of agriculture. Our technicians provide technical training to our students. Our agriculture machines will increasingly need skillful farmers, farmers able to schedule these machines. I'm not a native digital.
Show an exhibition which is very important at an international level, and it is an organizational know-how. It's the second fair all over the world in terms of internationalization. What can we transfer? Certainly the credibility, which is the success of the show, of the fair, which of course is a guarantee for us, also for the achievement of this objective in Agrilevante. The second important part of my answer concerns the collaboration we have with the institutions. This international part that in this case refers to the Mediterranean region is promoted by us with players like SIAM, but also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The joint work of all these partners working and operating towards the sustainable internationalization, as the politician called it, are extremely important to achieve this objective. I have another question. Why the decision to include robotics, so 4.0 within Agrilevante? I have appreciated a lot what the regional councillor said. Technology and innovation is in the facts, and my answer is the same. Robotics and technological innovation for agriculture is irreversible. We cannot go backwards. We take a direction which is important. It's important to make it known and to integrate it within the show of Agrilevante. Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Is everything okay? If you want, also in English. Thanks a lot, and we wish you good appetite, a happy lunch. We'll have our lunch at in the garden of this institute. Thank you.